Britain is one of the richest countries in the world. It boasts a global financial capital, home to the world's most influential banks and markets. Its universities rank among the best on the planet, producing some of the brightest minds in science, technology, and business. And it is home to some of the most valuable companies on earth, household names whose profits reach into the billions. Yet for many, life feels harder than ever. Wages have barely moved for years, leaving people struggling just to keep up with the rising cost of living. Rents are soaring, pushing homeownership further out of reach for young people. And every year, it seems like the gap between rich and poor only grows wider, leaving a generation falling further behind. This isn't a story about a struggling nation. Britain is far from poor. It's a story about how Britain became a rich country. And yet somehow, ended up with poor people. On paper, the United Kingdom looks successful. It consistently ranks among the world's largest economies, often held up as proof of stability and prosperity. Its GDP places it ahead of most countries on Earth, a statistic frequently used to measure national success. But GDP doesn't tell you how people actually live. It doesn't show the pressure on households, or the quiet anxiety of trying to make ends meet. It averages everything together, smoothing out extremes and hiding reality. London's wealth, the financial sector, global capital flows, all bundled into a single number. The result is an illusion. A country that looks rich in statistics, while everyday life slowly, quietly gets worse for millions of people. To understand what's really happening, you have to look at wages. Not the headlines, not the stock market, but what people actually earn. Since the financial crisis of 2008, real wages in Britain have barely grown at all. For long stretches, they simply stalled. And in some years, they didn't just stagnate, they went backwards. Meanwhile, the cost of living didn't slow down to match them. Rent continued to rise faster than pay, eating up larger portions of monthly income. Energy bills climbed, turning basic necessities into sources of stress. Transport became more expensive, making even getting to work cost more than before. People didn't suddenly become lazy. They didn't stop trying. They became trapped in an economy where working harder, working longer, and sacrificing more no longer guaranteed a better life. This is what long-term stagnation feels like. Not a dramatic collapse, not a single moment of crisis, but constant, grinding pressure. Over time, Britain stopped rewarding work. Effort, productivity, and long hours mattered less and less. Instead, it began rewarding ownership. Not what you produced, but what you already owned. Houses stopped being places to live and became investments. Land turned into a store of wealth, protected and inflated by policy. Asset prices rose faster than wages ever could. Year after year, property values climbed, while pay packets struggled to keep up. If you own property, your wealth grew, often without doing anything at all, sometimes faster than you could earn through work in an entire year. If you relied on a salary, you fell behind. No matter how hard you worked, the gap kept widening. Britain didn't lose money. The wealth didn't disappear. It redirected it away from production, innovation, and labor, and toward assets. Nowhere is this clearer than in London. More than any other city, London reveals how Britain's economy truly works. London attracts global money. Investors seeking returns. Corporations chasing opportunity. And foreign capital looking for safety in a stable, globally connected market. That success pushes prices up. Not just in housing, but across the entire economy. From rent and transport to everyday services, the cost of life rises alongside investment. Other regions don't share the same inflows. They don't receive the same level of attention, capital, or opportunity. Investment concentrates in one city, while towns and cities elsewhere are left competing for what remains, fighting over limited resources and shrinking prospects. Britain didn't build multiple economic engines. It didn't spread growth evenly across the country. It built one, and expected the rest of the country to keep up. This system works very well for a specific group of people: asset owners, property holders, Financial institutions. For them, wealth is protected. Prices are supported, even during crises. Losses are softened, while gains remain private. Policies quietly prioritize stability for capital, not growth in wages or living standards. Markets are stabilized, balance sheets are defended, while pay packets are left to adjust on their own. This doesn't require corruption. No secret deals or hidden conspiracies. It only requires rules that consistently favor ownership over work, year after year. This is how two Britons emerged. Not overnight, but slowly, through years of compounding advantage. One Briton earns around £30,000 a year. It rents, often indefinitely. It saves little, not by choice, but by necessity. And it worries constantly about the future. About rent increases, job security, and the cost of simply existing. The other Briton earns six figures, or owns appreciating assets accumulated years earlier. Property. Shares. Land. It builds wealth while it sleeps. Its money works harder than most people ever could. Same country. Same laws, completely different realities. When growth doesn't improve daily life, people begin to disengage. Not suddenly, but gradually, through disappointment and fatigue. Politics starts to feel distant. Something that happens elsewhere, to other people. Promises feel empty, repeated every election and quietly forgotten. Because the economy keeps growing. The numbers go up. The charts look healthy. Just not for them. And this isn't just an economic problem. It's not only about wages, prices, or productivity. It's a psychological one. A slow erosion of trust, of motivation, and a belief that effort will ever be rewarded. Britain didn't become poor. It became unequal. Wealth concentrated at the top, while opportunity slowly narrowed for everyone else. The ladder didn't disappear. It was simply pulled further out of reach. And until that imbalance is addressed, the country will continue to look rich on paper. Strong GDP figures, rising asset prices, global influence. While more people quietly fall behind in real life. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't a sudden failure or an unexpected outcome. It was designed.